You can introduce yourself if you like to and start at the beginning, what year it was that you got into veganism, why you got into it, and then how it unfolded.
Okay, so I have a history of extreme obesity. So when I was in 2011, when I was about 22 years old, I had about 150 kilograms of body weight. Um, so after that, I have a gastric bypass surgery, which is basically a surgery where your stomach gets smaller. And after that, I lost a lot of weight in a very short period of time. At that time, obviously, I had no clue about nutrition. I was eating only junk and then fast food for basically my whole life. That's why I got so much weight. And after that, I lost a lot of weight in a short period of time. Then I went to the gym, lost even more weight. And then, like 2012 was the first time in my life when I actually tried to research nutrition. That was the first time in my life where I thought, okay, I actually want to be healthy. I actually like myself, and it's okay. So I want to know what is the healthiest diet out there, so I can live a long and happy life. So I went on YouTube, Google for or search for videos, healthy food, healthy nutrition and stuff. And one of the first videos I came across, I think, was Marcus Rothkranz, one of the more insane people in the movement. And obviously, first thing I thought, okay, this guy's completely insane, and so on. But then I came into this into the high carb raw vegan stuff. One of the first things which were a bit fascinating to me was that there were so much doctors promoting this stuff. And they say, okay, it's healthy, blah blah blah. There's so much studies. So that was one of the first things where I thought, okay, if there is so much science around that, that must be probably a thing. So I basically started out eating high carb raw vegan, about 70%, 70 to 80% of fruits for the day, and just trying to eat as little as possible of cooked food. And that I did for at least one whole year, like really, how do I say it?
Strict?
I was extremely strict about that. Yeah, extremely strict about the diet. So in this time, I went down to 65 kilograms of body weight. So I basically went from 150 to 65 kilos down in under 2 years, which was pretty extreme. But at the time, I was only focusing on losing weight. My mind was just around losing weight. I wanted to be as thin as possible, and so on. So when I was at my lowest weight possible, I got skin surgery. So they removed the excess skin. After that, when a couple of months later, when my skin surgeries were done, I went to the gym. So again, I went into researching nutrition. So I knew when I go to the gym that I probably have to eat in another way than only fruit and stuff. So that's when I read. So I actually have to come back, because in the time when I was eating high carb raw vegan, I actually met vegans. So 2014 in summer, I actually meet a bunch of high carb raw vegans in Munich in Germany. I went there with an Austrian girl, and we were talking to the people. And that is another thing which was pretty fascinating to me. A lot of these guys there, they were not those typical, hippie animal saving type of vegans. Most of them were athletes, so they were endurance athletes, runners, cyclists, and stuff. So I thought, okay, if those guys are eating this way, there must be probably some good stuff, I actually wonder if they're still around, and in December, January 2014, 2015, I actually went to Thailand with a couple of them for 2.5 weeks and 1 week alone. So we were basically traveling through the country and eating fruit there, because like the vegans only go to Thailand and those exotic countries to eat fruit. And I actually saw one of the girls who was in my group. I actually saw her in a video from Joey Carbstrong. She was running around, I think, in Cologne. when they did a meeting there. But anyways, so after that I went to the gym, started to work out, and so basically at the time I was so low in body weight and I was so weak that I basically could have eaten, I think, anything and I would have gained some mass, right? But I tried to eat. I ate a shit ton of cooked grains, obviously, beans and nuts. That I did for about for about 2 years. So I gained strength and mass pretty fast. But looking back now, it should have been way more, you know. Like the progress was extremely slow. And I remember you interviewed one guy. He was, I think, a powerlifter or something. And he said something very interesting. He said that his shoulder, his shoulder muscle development was very small in comparison to what it did for his shoulder development. And that is very interesting because you have the most receptors are in the neck and then the shoulder. That's why when people take testosterone, when they take steroids, the first thing popping up is the neck. So it makes extremely sense that you are very low on testosterone, obviously, when you eat the vegan diet. The moment I realized my health started declining, but was about 2 years all in all into the plant-based diet, into being vegan. But looking back at it, it came very extremely slow and sneaky. It was not like you would realize it right away. But I can tell you how my health declined in detail. I actually had to make a list because it was so much. So for example, I had cravings for everything and all the time. So food was basically controlling me all the time. I was thinking about food all the time. That's one of the main changes to now, obviously. Then bowel movements, crazy, going to toilet 3-4 times a day. Again, for example, I had pain in my knees when it was cold outside. That's something I never had before. I had bloody tooth flesh when I was using tooth silk. That was something I never had before. I always had very good tooth in my life, even when I was eating a shitty diet, fast food diet with meat and stuff. I always had good teeth. That's something. Then my sleep got way better. I think my sleep was getting worse in that time. Then I never had any appetite in the morning. Never. That's something which completely changed now. I don't know why, but I often didn't eat anything or wasn't hungry till like 6-7 hours into the day. I didn't have any appetite for food. And the biggest thing obviously was the overall well-being, like the clear mind. That's something that's one of the worst things because it comes very slowly and sneaky and you do not really realize it. So all in all, I stayed on the vegan diet for 4 years, and the last 2 years it was like slowly declining. I don't even know why I went into research again, but maybe my guts told me to. I thought, okay, I'm not feeling well, this and that, and I went on YouTube, saw some of the interviews I did. So first thing I thought, you're completely insane. Every one of those guys is completely insane. Probably lied, and these guys were talking, I ate some eggs and felt better in 2-3 days. And I thought like, okay, that's complete bullshit. So even then I still thought that the plant-based vegan diet was the most healthy thing out there. And even after I reintroduced animal products in my diet, still thought in the first days that it's probably some placebo, right, or something. But I saw you had so much interviews, and all these guys had their symptoms were so similar to my symptoms, the sleep and the brain fog and all the stuff. That I thought, okay, I'll just give it a try, because if it doesn't work, if it's real shit, I can go back to a vegan diet anytime, right? So, okay, I cheated maybe one time on animal products, and then I go back. So what I did was I got some eggs, I got raw milk, which is pretty easy to get in Austria because you have like farmers all around, and some smoked salmon, I think. Ate that, and like instantly, obviously felt better. In 2 to 3 days, I extremely felt better. I felt like really, really better. And like the first thing that came to my mind was, how the fuck could I be so wrong on something I was so convinced of being the right thing, That was the first thing coming to my mind. How could I be so wrong on something I was so convinced about? And I also thought about it being a placebo, but in general, I think that I'm very good at figuring out if something is placebo or not, because I think I have a pretty good, how do I say it?
Intuition?
Yeah, intuition and self-reflection was the word I was looking for. In general, I think I have a very good self-reflection, and I am very willing to accept something in my worldview as wrong when I see it as wrong. I'm very, very willing to do that. And usually I don't expect much of anything I try out, so that way I can't be disappointed. And I also I'm not so biased, to results. But I instantly felt it after 2 or 3 days, but I felt way more energized. I felt like just way better, clear in my mind. I had like in 2 weeks, I had all my focus. I lost completely my focus, After losing so much weight, obviously my mind turned completely around. I was enjoying life. I set new goals for my life. I was doing so much things. I wanted to do this and do that. I have this goal, that goal. And all the stuff went completely down. I was sitting at home, sitting in front of the computer, thinking, man, what am I gonna do with my life, and that's so shitty, and I don't know how to do this and how to do that. Just running around, really like a little kid. You completely lost my manhood, basically. All the stuff came back instantly, and that was really, really shocking to me. But as soon as I realized what was going on, I completely threw the vegan diet out of the window, like just basically in one day, like snapped like this. I went to the butcher with my girlfriend, and we got like just everything, bought way too much, wanted to try out everything, bought kidney, liver, beef heart, everything at the butcher, and ate everything. Now I don't like everything. I don't like everything of the stuff, but most of it I like it. So yeah, my girlfriend obviously dragged my girlfriend into it, the vegan diet, because it's so healthy, and I want us both to be healthy. Of course, in 2 years she got really, really sick 3 times. You must imagine. And before that, she never got sick. Really, she was never sick in any way. And in 2 years, she got sick 3 times, really bad, where she had to lie in the bed 2 weeks and couldn't do anything. And she also was eating a lot of soy products, like really a lot of soy products, a lot of the fake meats. A lot of the fake meats. I didn't eat so much fake meats. I ate more of the anti-nutrient stuff, nuts and beans and grains.
What about supplements in this whole time?
Okay, I'll come to that. Supplements. I did take supplements, but supplements were a part basically of the whole eating, of the whole nutrition plan I had. So the way I did it, and it's very important, I think this is a very important part, because vegans, actual vegans now, which are watching your interviews with vegans, they always gonna search for something. Oh, this guy drank his piss, this guy didn't do it right, this guy ate only fruit, blah, 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 okay? These guys are completely underestimating how serious guys like me are taking the approach to nutrition. So I'm just gonna explain to you how I did it. I made the perfect meal plan with chronometer, where I had a basic meal plan of 1800 calories, which showed on paper, obviously, because you can't absorb any of that shit. It showed on paper that all nutrients except I think D3 and B12 are good. You have like over 100% of the nutrients. So that was only my basic meal plan, which I ate every day. I prepped everything for it. I soaked the nuts, to kill some of the anti-nutrients. I prepared my beans, my rice. I prepared my fruits. I had everything in line from Monday to Friday, like every day, and I ate it for extremely strict for at least 1 year. On the weekends, I was like maybe a bit more flexible, but also not that much, So on top of it, I ate enough calories, to be sure that I'll have a caloric overload for working out at the gym. So on top of all that, which should cover all nutrients on paper, I ate additionally at least 1,000 calories, like at least 2,500 to 3,000 calories a day, which was also grains and nuts mostly. So I ate way too much nuts every day, because it's one of the only ways that you can get natural fats on a vegan diet. So obviously vegan diet completely lacks fats. And on top of that, I was taking supplements. So I had everything in line. I took D3, B12, then I took a multivitamin. Then I had all those crazy shits like turmeric with black pepper. I don't know if you heard of that. Complete waste of money. I'm really embarrassed to say that I wasted my money for stuff like that. And then I had 3 additional combined supplements with whatnot in it, all kinds of stuff. So that's something you must imagine. I had the perfect meal plan on paper. I ate additional calories to be in a caloric overload to make sure I don't eat too little. And I took a shitload of supplements. So if the whole foods plant-based diet is even close to a perfect human diet, like 50-60% should be enough to feel well, And if I come close to the 100%, I should feel amazing. So I was basically, my diet and the supplements and everything were more than perfect, and I was barely living. Yeah, I can say I was barely living. Like after, that's a very, very important part. But after introducing animal products again, I went to my highest strength point, which I had in the gym in like 3 weeks, I think. In 3 weeks, I had the same strength like 2 years before.
The very first year when you lost all of the weight, did it ever cross your mind that you're essentially eating yourself, that you're living off your reserves, or did you just believe that veganism is healthy because you're losing all of the weight?
No, I completely believe the propaganda. So what they say is that humans, so much bullshit. I think they say kind of stuff that humans in nature do not have a lot of muscle or something, or that it's basically healthy to be extremely thin because you are more flexible or something. I don't know how they say it, but I completely bought into the propaganda. Obviously only read the vegan sources, only the vegan doctors. And I think one of the most shocking things, and actually one of the most dangerous things, is that they have so much doctors around, because that gives you a sense of something being, very serious. And obviously all their studies are correlation studies. It's only correlation studies, everything, And also the stuff from the World Health Organization, stating red meat is carcinogenic and everything. Also pretty shocking.
How do you see the future of veganism? Where do you think it's heading?
That's a very interesting question. A lot of people think that it's getting bigger and bigger and eventually getting a threat to humanity. I don't think so. I think you really don't have to be afraid in any way of vegans because, first of all, 80 or 90% of them are probably cheating. If not cheating, they just go back to eating normally because it's just not sustainable, right? And they're just too weak to achieve anything, basically. So I really don't think it's a threat to humanity. Now there probably is a big interest, from powers that be, you can call them whatever, that people eat a lot of grains and stuff because it's very cheap, and the big companies can sell those useless stuff expensive to them. But yeah, hard to say. I don't think it's gonna get big in any way. Yeah, maybe there's some agenda behind it, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, there's definitely the agenda of dehumanizing people. That's for sure, right? All the gender stuff, all the feminist stuff. Yeah, but that's actually something which I never lost my intuition. Even in the time I was vegan, I always had like some kind of distance because I thought 80% of vegans are like socialist leftist SJWs. So if so much of them are like that, there's probably something wrong. So I'll say, it's okay. Yeah. In the end, I also bought in the ethical argument, of it being wrong to kill animals. Just from a libertarian standpoint, I thought, okay, if an animal is not able to give consent, why should I have the right to kill it? Because I thought okay, we have disabled people, for example, in society, and we don't throw them into a grinder and make meat out of them just because they cannot give consent, right? But I only bought into the argument under the premise of necessity, of there being no necessity to eat animal food. Now, as soon as I realized there is necessity, that was completely worthless to me because my health is obviously more important to me, right? So it was only, and that is also an important part to understand vegan ethics. There is 2 steps in vegan ethics. There is step one. Step one is to cut out necessity. That's why you hear all the guys like Jerry Cobstrong, Earthling Ed, Vegan Gains, they always say the unnecessary suffering for animals, the unnecessary blah, blah, blah. And the first thing they do in the street interviews is always to say, so you agree that you can live a healthy life on a vegan diet, right? And people say, yeah. And then they go into the morals. Because if you agree to there being no necessity, you cannot really win a moral argument against the vegan. It's pretty hard. But the thing is, there is necessity to eat animal products. And 90% of the discussions on YouTube you will see about vegans, non-vegans, blah, 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 it's all about morals. It's completely senseless. Because why would you discuss about morals when there is necessity to eat animal products? There is no discussion about morals as there is necessity for me as a human. That's not something to think about. Yeah, but one of the good things veganism did to me was to raise awareness, about mass mass animal production and stuff. So. I don't buy any meat in the supermarket. That's something I don't do. I get everything from farmers, maybe from the butcher, where I know he raises his own animals. But I don't get pasteurized milk from the supermarket. I don't do any of that stuff. So even now that I eat animal products, I just try to buy as little as possible in the supermarket. But it's actually easier than you think. Like we go one tour every Saturday. We buy our groceries. So I go to the butcher, I go to the farmer's market, and I drive to the farm. A lot of farmers here in the area in Austria, they have their little shops next to a farm. because when they sell it to the big supermarkets, they get completely ripped off, especially with milk. And also, I think you're not allowed to sell raw milk here in supermarkets. Although I've seen it sometimes at organic supermarkets. I've seen raw milk in the supermarket one time, but anyway, I get it directly from the farmer. Yeah. So if interesting, my diet nowadays, what I do is in the morning I always drink coffee with 2 raw egg yolks. That's pretty practical because it makes the coffee taste extremely good. You instantly have an intake of raw eggs, and I just don't like to eat the egg white raw, so I'll just pan fry the egg white and put some goat cheese or something in it. Then I'll have stuff like tartar, smoked fish, some meat throughout the day, but sometimes I'll also eat just random stuff, which I just want to eat even if I know it's unhealthy. For me, it's really not about labeling myself as a vegan or as a carnivore or anything. For me, it's really about having found back to normality. I really have to say, it's really having found back, and now is really the first time in my life where I can really say that nutrition does not control me. Like food doesn't control me. I control the food. And in my life, obesity with eating disorder and blah blah blah, I was like food controlled me my whole life basically. That's the first time in my life I really can say I do not think that much about food anymore. I really don't think that much about food. I know what's healthy. I know what's not healthy. I eat enough healthy stuff throughout the day to feel good, and the rest of the day I'll just eat what I want. And that's the other thing, right? So at least 50 or 60% from my calories every day comes from high quality animal foods, at least, and lot of saturated fat, butter and everything. And like that's enough to feel great and perfect throughout the day. And that shows you that it's pretty close. Like it must be close to a perfect nutrition, right? Because if 50% eating that way is enough to feel great throughout the day, and I feel like nothing can get me down. If I eat my raw eggs, my butter in the morning and tartar, I can eat shit throughout the day, really eat crap throughout the day, and it will do nothing to me, nothing. When I was eating the whole foods vegan diet, plant-based, I had to, like when I was eating 90% perfect, when I had a little cheat of some fast food style food, let's say a vegan burger or something, I felt extremely bad. It was so bad in my stomach, and I probably couldn't sleep the whole night. Yeah.
By the way,
So
when you put the egg yolks in the coffee, they're technically not raw anymore, right? If the coffee is hot.
That's right. Yeah. But that's some detail there, right? But I think if you eat enough of this, if you eat enough eggs, yeah. But I always have enough raw milk every day. Yeah? Enough raw milk and raw butter I will have every day, no matter what.
Right, I get your point. It's nothing you should be religious about diet.
When you're vegan, you are so extremely religious about diet, and I was thinking about food all the time. What I'm eating for breakfast? What if I go there? It's 3 or 4 hours. What am I gonna eat there? Fuck, I'm invited there. What am I gonna eat there? I can't go there. I can't go to the parents of my girlfriend because they're gonna serve me that food and I can't eat that. Blah blah blah. All this stuff is completely controlling your whole life. That's why you probably sit at home. You don't have friends anymore and just read vegan propaganda on Facebook and on YouTube. Yeah. And I also, dude, I got so weak mentally that I even got vaccines. Can you imagine?
Oh, wow.
I even got vaccines really before we went to Vietnam for vacation, and I was so mentally, like before that I would have never got vaccines, dude. And I went there and the doctor was like, mosquitoes in Vietnam, you can get this and that. Yeah, okay, probably I'll do that. Come on, shoot in. Completely crazy. Yeah, really, really regret that. But that shows you how weak-minded it's malnourished diet can make you.
Right. It
Really
would
shocking.
be great for the people in control to have a population like that, who just do whatever they want, right?
Yeah, of course. Like having little puppets in the population, paying taxes and having only material goals in life. That's perfect. Perfect for the governments. Perfect for the politicians.
Yeah. Anything else you would like to add?
Yes, actually, yes. I want to say, if any vegans are watching this, I want to tell them they don't do not you don't have to believe anyone, okay? You don't have to believe Swearich, you don't have to believe me or anyone. Just try it out. You only have to just try out to eat high quality animal foods for 2 or 3 days, and then you can prove to yourself if you feel better or not. You have nothing to lose. If there is no difference, you can go back to your plant-based diet anytime. And if there is a difference, there must be some reason for it. So think about it.
All right.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.